Hello, my young disciples, and welcome to this week's Ignite at Home lesson. Have you guys ever received a gift that was too good to be true? Like a gift so wonderful that surely it couldn't be for you. Like, what if you asked your mom if you could go to Disney World for Christmas, and you asked her for 5 whole years, but every year she just said, maybe next year. And then, on the 6th year, your mom surprises you by saying, we're going to Disney World for Christmas! And you don't believe her because you've been so disappointed before. Today, we are going to learn about a man named Zechariah. Zechariah had prayed to God for years and years and years for a baby son. But he had to wait for so long that he just figured that God was never going to give him a son. But one day, God showed up. And he told Zechariah that he and his wife were going to have a baby. But Zechariah didn't believe him. Here's Zechariah's story in full.
So there was a priest, and his name was Zechariah. He was married to a woman named Elizabeth, and they followed all the laws and commandments that God gave to Israel. But they were sad because they didn't have any children, and they were getting very old. One day when Zechariah was serving the temple, he got chosen to go into the Lord's sanctuary and offer incense before God. When Zechariah went in, an angel appeared before him and scared Zechariah. The angel said,
Don't be afraid, Zechariah, for God has heard your prayer. Your wife Elizabeth will have a son, and you will name him John. God is going to use John as a part of his big rescue plan. John will turn the hearts of Israel back to the Lord. Isn't that great?
This news was so wonderful that Zechariah wasn't sure if he could believe that it was true or not. Zechariah asked the angel,
Well, Mr. Angel, sir, that is cool news and all, but how can I be sure that it's true? I mean, I'm an old man. My wife is way too old to have a baby. My name is Gabriel. God sent me to tell you this good news, and since you don't believe me, you won't be able to speak until all of these things have been fulfilled. Gabriel, out.
Then Zechariah said, just kidding. He couldn't say anything because he wasn't able to talk anymore. He had to communicate to everybody by writing and waving his hands around. Zechariah and Elizabeth went home, and soon Elizabeth became pregnant, just like the angel said that she would be. 9 months later, their baby son was born. When it was time to name the baby, all of Zechariah's family wanted to name him Zechariah after his father, but that couldn't be so because the angel said that the baby's name would be John. So Zechariah wrote on a tablet, his name is John. As soon as he wrote it, he was able to speak again, and he leapt up and wrote a beautiful song to praise God. And baby John grew up to become John the Baptist.
Isn't the story of Zechariah just so cool? Even though Zechariah didn't believe that God would give him a son, God was still faithful to answer Zechariah's prayer. Zechariah's story shows us that sometimes we'll be disappointed while we're waiting for God to show up. Maybe we'll even start believing that God's not going to show up at all. But God still loved Zechariah, even though he doubted, and God invited Zechariah to be a part of his big rescue plan. God made Zechariah the father of John the Baptist, who prepared the way for Jesus' ministry. Zechariah's story shows us that God is still faithful to show up, even after we have lost hope. So as we are waiting for Jesus to arrive this Advent season, we can trust that God will show up in big ways, whether we believe or not. Pasi Chamang, disciples, I'll see you next week. Zechariah, it's a name. Could be your rap. Maybe mine. Zechariah. Everyone's all afraid of me being angelic and stuff. It's not really that funny. I was just thinking, should John the Baptist, should we call him JB for short, like Justin Bieber? No, that's a dumb idea. Don't do that. Simple. Except John the Baptist. Ta-da!